A little over a month ago, we took a look at WWE Films' horror movie, See No Evil, featuring KANE. And I mentioned that I wasn't sure if I wanted to make more WWE film reviews, but after seeing the reception that the original video got, I realized I have to at the very least take a look at the successor to See No Evil, See No Evil 2. Now, See No Evil 2 came out in 2014 to mixed ratings, and this movie actually surprised me when I realized Danielle Harris stars in it as the main character. If you're not aware, Danielle Harris played Jamie Lloyd in the Halloween series, so that's pretty cool. Now, were the mixed ratings this movie received warranted? Let's find out. The movie begins with Amy, played by actress Danielle Harris, wheeling in a body through a morgue before she runs into Seth, played by actor Kaj Eric Erickson. That's an epic name, by the way. Also, I just want to say, I love Danielle Harris, and she always does a stellar job. And I've only seen her in a few movies, but it's always been a knock out of the park, you know? We learn in 2 hours it will be Amy's birthday, and that she'll be going out to drink with her friends after her shift, which ends in 10 minutes. Seth is acting like he forgot or didn't care, only to reveal he had a cake made specifically for her, hidden underneath a sheet on one of the exam tables.
Oh yes, that's right. It's your birthday. Seriously, I've never seen anything like it before in my life, and I have seen some pretty crazy things come through here. Happy birthday.
Because nothing screams romantic like a cake on the same surface thousands of bodies have laid on before. There's a super obvious romance radiating off of these two, and personally, I think it comes across as a little too forced. It doesn't really feel natural with the way they flirt, or whatever you want to call their small talk here in the first few minutes of the movie. We then meet Holden, who I assume is their boss. We don't really get told what his exact job is, but he's the one up front and gives Amy her phone, so I guess he's like the maybe he's a receptionist, but I think he's the boss. I thought that was a bit strange too. I don't know, maybe morgues do lock up their employees' cell phones prior to their shift starting. It just seemed like off to me, like it was there just for the plot. But if I had to guess, that it's so weird morticians aren't able to take pictures of their patients, but that's just a guess. Also, I like this little detail of Seth looking away when Holden goes to unlock the safe. Just thought it was a nice attention to detail of making Seth look like a goody two-shoes. As Amy's getting ready to leave, a news report blares across Holden's monitor, and we're treated to a montage recap of the first movie and learn the bodies of the victims found in the old hotel are being brought to this morgue, that including the body of Jacob Goodnight. Amy then says that she's gonna stay and help out instead of going out to drink, much to Sean's obvious fake objection. She goes to take a phone call, and Holden pokes fun at Sean for not making a move yet. Sean and Amy then get back to work. We then get this cool shot of them two standing on the loading dock as an ambulance is backing in, and can you guess who might be in the back of that ambulance?
Got a Jacob Goodnight. Hey, this is the psycho that did it.
We get this sick shot of them wheeling Goodnight down the hall, and Kane's sheer size laying on that stretcher is remarkable. That would be terrifying, knowing that this is the man that did all the horrific things in the last movie, and now you're the one wheeling him down a hall on a stretcher? In a morgue? I don't know, man. It's a little too much for me. I don't know if I can do it. As they're loading Goodnight into the elevator, Sean drops his binder and the elevator doors shut, causing Amy to be alone with Goodnight's body. And her reaction to this had me dying. They kept teasing that Goodnight's gonna wake up, but obviously he doesn't. Sean meets her on the second floor and they bring him to the room to get to work. And this gives us this nasty scene. I won't lie, I actually gagged at that. Sean then tells her that she's done enough for today and that she can go. You guys just started. What? I was screaming at the TV over this, but whatever. That line was dumb. I don't care. This leads to Amy going back downstairs where she finds out her friends all got inside the morgue and are throwing her a surprise party since she canceled at the bar. I guess they just showed up and Holden was like, all right, I don't see anything wrong with letting a bunch of strangers into this morgue. But we know these people were just brought here to add to the movie's overall kill count. And honestly, these characters are all so one-dimensional and boring. And unless I just wasn't using the site correctly, almost none of them are even credited for their roles. So I'll just talk about them as they become known to the watcher. We meet Amy's brother, who is the movie's piece of shit. He's gonna have an upcoming scene with Sean that just makes the viewer hate his guts. And he mentions Kayla, one of Amy's friends. Sean walks in and Amy decides to introduce him to her friends, which this is where we learn that this is Carter and this is Tamara, the sex-crazed character that needs to be put in every horror movie ever, apparently. Tamara just keeps flirting with Holden right in front of Carter, by the way. That was kind of funny. She gets excited at the thought of seeing Jacob Goodnight's body and pretends to ask to use the bathroom when really she's about to go sneak in the room Jacob is in, and she's gonna bring Carter along. Amy and her brother then get into a fight because she knows he's made Sean leave, which makes her furious because she always feels controlled by her family.
She deserves more. She deserves someone who can offer her more.
Sure.
Her brother then starts talking to Kayla, who is trying to seduce him. Like, this movie's going from one thing to the next so quick, and it's hard to keep up with. We jump back to see Tamara and Carter trying to find Goodnight. These two are so unlikable, it's insane. The writing in this movie is just awful compared to the first. But of course, they find the room, and Tamara is just being the sex-crazed psycho that manages to find Goodnight's body. And what do you think the first thing she does is? She sits on him in a riding position. Who wrote this shit, bro? We then cut back to Amy's brother and Kayla, who just start making out. It's like this movie is trying to move fast without even giving us a chance to care about the characters. This isn't even a short movie either. It's almost an hour and 40 minutes long, so they definitely could have spent more time on building up these characters, but nah, they decided against that for some reason. And right after that, we jump back to see Tamara and Carter having sex on the medical table, which is when she realizes Goodnight's body is gone. How exactly did a gigantic 7-foot-tall man with a hole in his head move from that table without being spotted? Your guess is as good as mine. Carter tries saying the friends are just messing with them, but Tamara retorts that by asking how could they move a man the size of Goodnight. Wow, some self-awareness here. The power goes out, but luckily Tamara has matches. They start walking towards the door, but the match goes out, and when she lights a new one, yep, Jacob is behind them. This movie's so bad, man. Tamara manages to get out and begins trying to escape down the hall. We cut to a scene of Goodnight going through the freezers, and he pulls out one with the corpse of his mother that he killed in the previous... Okay, hang on. His body is the only one that has been handled and delivered here. So when did the mom's body get here? Did it just magically teleport? Plot holes. Goodnight then strangles Carter, and I believe this is the last we see of him until a little bit later. Goodnight takes the bandage off of his eye to reveal the impact of getting stabbed through the eye in the previous film. And honestly, this doesn't look half bad. Pretty good effect. We get a shot of him grabbing some mask that's just casually sitting there, and we're given an epic frame of him picking out a weapon. This might be the scariest shot of the whole movie, honestly. Seeing KANE in front of that weapon cabinet is just, I don't know. Back with Tamara now, though. She's still trying to find her way out. Holden can hear her scream, so he goes to investigate, leading to his interaction with Jacob Goodnight, who somehow has a hook again. Where did he find a hook in a morgue, bro? He uses it to yank Holden's wheelchair out from under him, and to give credit where credit is due, I thought it was insanely smart to do this scene where Holden is crawling away but gets stopped in his tracks, but he can't figure out why. and then it reveals that he got hooked through the leg, but since he's paralyzed, he couldn't feel it. That was a cool touch. Kayla, Amy, and her brother walk into the room Goodnight was in to find the body gone. They notice blood on the door of one of the freezers, and upon opening it, they're greeted with the body of Carter, confirming his death, and then, of course, the power goes out. Didn't the power already go out, bro? How is it gonna go out a second time? Back with Sean now, we see him getting annoyed with the power outage, but he makes sure to point out to himself that the machine used to embalm the bodies is still working. Remember that. Amy and Co are running around frantically when they find Holden's body where he takes his last breath. Tamara then runs into the group and they all end up running into Sean, who was just running away from Jacob. And at this point, I won't lie, I'm so checked out. This movie is so generic, it hurts. They all end up splitting up because, yeah, splitting up in horror movies is a trope we have to add. Kayla somehow ends up alone in a bathroom where Jacob was hiding. He was just chasing them, but somehow he knew to wait in the bathroom in the off chance that someone would try to hide there in this morgue that has hundreds of rooms. Okay, sure. She ends up getting by Goodnight, and they try to do this symbolic thing of him seeing Kyra from the last movie, saying this isn't what God wants, but bro ignores that and gets right back to killing, so what was the point of that? We jump to Tamara and Sean hiding in a room where Goodnight's now looking for them, and just as he's about to find Tamara, Amy screams to distract him, giving Tamara a chance to run, only to get her in one of the coolest scenes of the movie. The brother then sacrifices himself to give Amy and Sean a chance to run away, which, like, why would you set this guy up to be unlikable in the beginning only for him to do something this noble? If this is supposed to be a redemption arc, I don't know. The 30 minutes we know this guy for was not enough time to establish any of that, and again, it comes across as rushed. Sean and Amy are now on the run. Oh yeah, Sean got stabbed, by the way, so he's limping a bit his way through all this, and that leads them to one of the exam rooms where they end up having the cauterize the wound, which, I don't care, man. Anytime I see this done in the movie, it makes me cringe in pain. I can't imagine actually doing this. They realize there's a window that they can escape through, but Sean's too weak, so he hands Amy his car keys and tells her to go get help. We finally get the kiss between these two, which honestly, the build up for this relationship, fine, I'll give it to them. These two have been the best part of the whole movie. Amy gets outside and starts walking around the wall of the building, only to backtrack and retreat when it's revealed Jacob is now walking around outside? It was just shown earlier that he's locked off all the exits to the building, so how did he get outside, bro? They're running back through the morgue now because Amy remembers another way out. I don't know what her other way out is, but there's another way out apparently. And then this happens.
Amy?
Bro, when this happened, you can ask my girlfriend, I screamed so loud out of anger. Well, yeah, this is a good twist. How are you gonna kill Danielle Harris this close to the end? This scene haunts my nightmares. Why would you do this? Sean is now all alone running from Goodnight, and he ends up back in the exam room, and before long, Goodnight enters the room with him, stopping him from escaping through the window. He tosses him into a medical rack, and I'm not joking, they do like a 30-second slow-mo of the glass shattering. They're just really trying to fill out the time here that time could have been used to work on the characters, but you know, glass shattering. Sean's at his wit's end, remembers the plot armor he was given earlier. Remember when I said the embalming machine still worked without power? He stabs Goodnight with the injector and pumps him full of embalming fluid, leading to one of the grossest deaths I've ever seen in a horror movie. Jacob Goodnight is dead, and now Sean can leave. He might have lost everything, but he can leave. He just has to open this gate first. And now Jacob Goodnight is behind him, leading to the death of Sean. No one but Goodnight made it out of this movie because you can never kill off a horror villain. Get ready for See No Evil 3 featuring Mayor KANE as Goodnight in 3 years. God. How did he survive and how did he teleport? Is Jacob supernatural now? This movie was a huge downgrade from the original See No Evil, in my opinion, and I'm actually so disappointed. If you saw my review of the first movie, you'd know I had many praise for it and really enjoyed it. So seeing this, it seemed to be just a cash grab trying to call itself a worthy sequel, and I can't accept that. I just can't. If I had to rate this movie, I'd maybe give it a 3 out of 10. Danielle Harris and Sean really saved this movie and made it at least worth watching till the end. And yeah, I don't have any other praise for it. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this movie look back, and I will see you in the next one.